Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining us here on the Victory Lap. As always, I'm your host, James Boss. Joined alongside me is still, and forever will be, Shane Tinney. Shane, how are you doing this morning?
I'm doing all right this morning. I still am, always will be, here at the Victory Lap. I'm doing good, though. How are you feeling?
Well, I'm feeling great. I'm feeling like we could have started this 20 minutes ago, but
We probably could have, but due to some unforeseen circumstances, we're starting at 9:56.
That we are.
We are.
Anyways, let's get the show kicking off. Aaron Rodgers has officially said that he has no intention to come back to the Green Bay Packers, so my world is officially the greatest it's ever been in a very long time. Shane, what are you taking away from this?
See, I actually want you to go first with this one. Because this is, as your team, you claim to be a Packers fan.
I am a Packer fan.
Although sometimes it's hard to tell.
Well, last year it was hard being a Packer fan, considering I hated the only person that made their team relevant. But I'm so happy he's gone. So happy. I couldn't be more happy. I hate this man with all of my heart. I almost just broke our one rule of no cursing 5 seconds into the show because of this man. That's how much joy that comes out of this for me. Good for the Jets, honestly. You're getting one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. Granted, I think it's exclusively a regular season kind of quarterback, but he's still won 4 MVPs, so you got to give him at least some flowers there. I'm just so happy that the Packers are finally moving on. He has been an absolute cancer to this team. I don't care if he's won back 2 MVPs in the last 3 years. He has been the reason they can't win in the playoffs. They've had great defenses both of those 2 seasons, and they couldn't do anything on the offensive side of the ball, and they lost both times. And I completely blamed that on Aaron Rodgers because if you're an MVP-level quarterback, you're supposed to win those games. However, he's gone. He's not coming back. And I don't know what we're going to get for him. I don't know if it's going to be 2 firsts or no firsts. I don't really care, if I'm being honest. All I know is as long as I don't get Zach Wilson, I will be happy with this trade. Because Jordan Love, he's here. He's the future of this team. And he may have only played for, 7 minutes against the Eagles last season?
Yep.
But it was 7 really good minutes.
It was.
And so I want to see what he can do for a full season. I'm not going to jump to conclusions and say he's going to be the new greatest thing to ever exist, but he could be.
He could be. And the Jordan Love era is finally here. And I'm sure he's been waiting to finally have an opportunity to show the league what he's got. And obviously, this is an end of an era in Green Bay. Aaron Rodgers, no one should ever wear number 12 again for that team. He really had nothing left to prove there. I think it was just time. The Packers made it clear they were ready to move on. And he said on the Pat McAfee show, he was like, well, if they're ready to move on, then so am I. And then he was very clear about his intentions to play for the Jets. He was like, well, my intent is to go play for the New York Jets now. But my thing is, why isn't this deal done yet? I really feel like there's something going on that this is going to be a bold take. I don't think this deal is going to get done. I don't think this is actually going to happen. And something's going to fall through that because of something we don't know about. Something's going to just derail this whole trade. And I don't know why. I just have that feeling. Because I feel like you would even agree here. The Packers have leverage in this. Because the Jets don't have any other options.
I don't know if the Packers still have leverage.
Because they made it clear, okay, we're all in on getting Aaron Rodgers. We just brought over Alan Lazard, and and they lost out on Derek Carr. Because at first that sort of seemed like that was gonna happen. The rumors were, okay, Derek Carr is probably gonna be a Jet, but I don't know. Why didn't this deal go down yet?
I think it's because I think it's probably because the asking price on one side is a lot higher than it is on the other. I don't think the Packers have that much leverage here because Aaron Rodgers has no intention to play, or the team has no intention to play Aaron Rodgers, and other teams know that by now. So why would you pay a whole lot for a guy that isn't going to be playing for that team regardless of what happens? So I don't think the Packers really have that much. Granted, I don't think the Jets have a whole lot either. But I think it's just a weird situation where the Packers still want to get a whole lot of picks for the guy, and the Jets just don't want to do that.
Yeah. So then what happens? What if the Jets are well, you guys are asking for too much?
I think the asking price comes down eventually. I don't know how long it's going to take, but I think it comes down.
I just think at some point, if this does happen, the Jets are going to have to cave. to what the Packers are asking. Because, like I said, like it's clear that they want him over there. And I really don't. It's an upgrade, obviously, from Zach Wilson. And
Is it?
yeah, I would say it's
You
an
think?
upgrade. Yeah.
I don't
think
know
even you would agree.
I don't know if our producer Jeff agrees with that.
I think a Jets fan would rather have Aaron Rodgers than Zach Wilson. I think that's a fair statement. So, but at the same time, like you said, the past few years of him in the regular season, that's about it. Like, you get a good regular season out of him, and then it's usually a first-round exit in the playoffs.
Yeah, sometimes if you're lucky, it's a second-round exit.
Yeah, and last year they didn't even make the postseason because they couldn't beat the Lions at the end of the year.
Couldn't beat the Lions either time they played them that year.
Yeah, so I don't know. Something just doesn't feel like this. This whole thing, I think, it could get derailed.
I mean, I think no matter what, he's not a Packer at the start of the season. Whether they end up trading him for like a third and nothing else, or like 3 firsts and they absolutely fleece the Jets, I don't know which way that's going to go. I don't see him ever playing for the Packers. I think the Packers are done with all of his malarkey because, frankly, that's what it kind of has been. Like, you look at what this guy has put the team through the last few seasons, where every single year the season's up and he's like 1 foot in, 1 foot out. He's like, I don't know if I want to retire. I don't know if I want to keep playing. He can never figure it out. And it's driving the fans insane, namely me. It's driving the front office insane, which is why they no longer want to deal with it anymore. It's like, because Rodgers said that going into his darkness retreat, he was like 90%, I'm going to retire.
Yep.
And then he said he came out of it, and all he was hearing was how the team was done, and they wanted to move on. And Rodgers took that personal, and unfortunately for Rodgers, he's not as good as the man who's really good at taking things personal, Michael Jeffrey Jordan. But now he wants to come back. He wants to try and prove this organization wrong. What's he going to prove them wrong? There's nothing that he can do to really prove them wrong because the organization has been right. Like, I don't like siding with front offices over players. That's never really been my thing. But when it comes to the case of this man who has been even more obnoxious than any other human in all of sports, really, it's like, I just kind of wanted to get him. I want him to get put in his place. And if that's getting sent to the Jets and not even making the playoffs because the division has the Bills, that's kind of what I want.
Yeah, and he's loving all this news about him.
Oh, this is what he wants. This is all he's ever wanted.
I mean, this has been like the headlines in all of sports. Ever since he said that on McAfee's show, like he's loving this.
Yep.
But yeah, every single offseason, at the end of the year, it's like when he walks out the field, everybody's like, is that his last time on a football field as a Packer? It's like we do the same thing every year. So I hope he does go to the Jets, honestly. Because, like, I don't know. I think, like, a change of scenery would be good. And just, like, for it to sort of finally happen. Just to, like, shake up the league a little bit. But, it still would be tough for them to make the playoffs with their division, with the Bills. And I would probably even take the Dolphins over them.
We'll talk about them
We are going to talk about that
soon. But
very soon, actually. Actually, let's talk about them now.
All right, why not?
You want to just switch right into that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm done with talking about Aaron Rodgers. He's a bum. Someone else, no longer a bum. Jalen Ramsey. He's a Dolphin now. Just got traded there. Shane? I mean, apparently you think that's going to make them better than an Aaron Rodgers Jets team. Where are you coming with that from?
Well, this is a steal.
I mean, yeah.
They got him for a 3rd-round pick and Hunter Long, who had 8 yards last year on 1 catch.
Talk my man Hunter.
Hunter Long
He doesn't deserve
the
this.
tight end, yeah. So, I mean, yeah, if you're the Dolphins, you're happy about this. Like, his best years are probably behind him now, but still, like, he's still playing at an elite level. He's, 3-time All-Pro, 6-time Pro Bowler. So, this is a good ad for that secondary on the Dolphins, and I would love to see those practice sessions of him guarding Tyreek. I think that, yeah. Who do you got on that one?
Tyreek by a mile.
How many times out of 10 is he?
I think Tyreek gets it like 9 out of 10.
Yeah. Guy runs a 6'7", 60 now.
Yeah. How's that make you feel?
Slow.
Yeah.
But anyways, Yeah, and I mean, there was the quote about him talking with his agent, and he was like, if I'm moved, the only team I will play for is the Dolphins. So he's all in. He wants to be there, which is important.
Why
So
does this man love Florida that much?
I don't know.
He
Oh,
got
yeah,
drafted in
with
Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, nice weather. But I guess LA is nice weather, too.
Yeah. Well, yeah. By the time they're playing football, it's pretty decent.
Yeah. So this was a good move for the Dolphins for sure. They should be happy.
They should be happy. I mean, it feels like a steal. Like getting a guy like Jalen Ramsey for only a third-round pick feels like a very good move for any football
And
team.
Hunter Long, don't forget him.
Sorry, can't forget
On the
Hunter
8
Long.
yards last year.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be the new Tyler Higbee.
Probably the Hall of Fame.
I think it's a very good trajectory. He's already 8 yards deep. But I think that getting a guy who just a year ago was an all-pro level corner for only a third-round player, that's a win. It's so much riskier to take a chance on a guy late in the draft than it is to take a chance on a guy who is a proven star in the league, proven to be one of the best at his position in the league. And while obviously he's not the same guy he was before, he's still Jalen Ramsey. Mm-hmm. I still don't want to see my best receiver getting guarded by Jalen Ramsey unless it's Tyreek Hill, because I think Tyreek Hill could absolutely cook Jalen Ramsey. But I think that's more just the speed than anything.
Yeah.
And so I like that move on that end. The Dolphins' defense was very mid at best last year, and so getting a guy as good as Ramsey is an upgrade, and that will be very good for their defense. But I still think they have a lot more problems than just getting a good corner. I think Xavier Howard taking a massive step back last year is very bad for the team, and if he continues to go on that trajectory, this move isn't going to matter at all. I also think that, like, they still have a guy who gets a concussion every time he sneezes playing the quarterback position, and as long as as long as they have that,
Who's that?
it's one Tua Tagovailoa.
Oh, him.
That guy.
Yeah,
Yeah. But as long as he's there, I don't really trust this team to be able to do anything real in the year, because Tua can play one game and he can look great and then fall down and then not play for 4 weeks. And with how many concussions he had last season, if he gets another one, it's going to be even longer. So it's like, that's not a formula to winning, especially when it's at your quarterback position. Obviously, they signed Mike White, which, love me some Mike White. He's probably going to be the week 3 starter maybe. Like, that's not something you want if you're trying to beat the Bills or Aaron Rodgers in a division. I think they need to figure that part of the game out before I can really trust them as a team. But for the time being, at least, I do really like this Ramsey move.
Yeah, I mean, last year we saw him, like, the Dolphins started out very good, and then they kind of just sort of plateaued. So, like, they got some issues there. Like, I hope all the best for Tua. Like, it's not fun seeing him, like, just on the field just be concussed. Like, that one stretch, it was, like, twice in a week.
Yeah.
I think it was, like, he got hurt
Because
Thursday.
he got hurt Sunday, and then Thursday he played.
Yep.
Got even worse.
So we hope to not see that out of him. But, like, when he's out there, like, I think Tua's one of the better quarterbacks in the league. He's got the weapons for it. And I think he's got the talent. Like, I don't know. He
certainly has the weapons for it.
For sure. So, I don't know. I think if if they click on all cylinders, they're going to be we can say a 10 to 12 win team. I don't think that's a stretch.
I don't think it is either if Tua's healthy the entire time. I think that's just asking too much out of him at this point. Like, obviously, I haven't been the biggest Tua fan in the past, but I will say he found a way to make the team work better than any of their other backups could. So that's at least credit to him for something. I may not think his arm is good at all, but it can at least get it there most of the time. It can get it there enough. And they trust him enough to at least throw it downfield, unlike any other person, even if he can't throw it as far downfield as he should be able to. Mm-hmm. It's just that as long as his head is the way it is, and I mean, personally, I don't even think he should be playing football anymore. Mm-hmm. And as long as he's going to be in this situation, I don't think this team is going to be able to find a whole lot of success.
Maybe they should have went for Aaron Rodgers.
Maybe they should have. I bet Rodgers would have loved playing down in South Beach.
I bet you would have.
Yeah.
I think if the Dolphins were really in the market for a quarterback and wanted to move on, they could have found a way to land Aaron Rodgers.
They could have. They
Him
should have.
throwing the ball to Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle.
Wouldn't that be nice?
And I bet you if he went there, he would attract other, like, I bet you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
People would want to play in Miami if they had Aaron Rodgers. I mean, people already want to play in Miami as it is.
He would probably get Alan Lazard to go down there with him.
Well, I mean, you got Alan Lazard to go to Jersey, so I'd imagine he can get him to go to Miami.
Takes Devontae Adams with him. Imagine that trio.
That would be wild.
Now, that team would have no excuse to not.
Well, I mean, I'd assume they'd have to trade like Jalen Waddle if they wanted to get Devontae.
Yeah, probably. But you would still do that.
Oh, absolutely. If you can get Devontae, you get Devontae.
Yeah. Poor Devontae Adams. He's just like in LA or Vegas.
Hey, what are you talking about? He's got Jimmy G.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Come on now.
How do we feel about that one, real quick?
Not
a topic we were going to discuss, but
not a topic we were going to discuss. I guess it's one we're talking about now. I don't like it.
Yeah,
I think he's bad.
it's an okay move.
I think they should have just gone for a guy. Try and find a guy in the draft. If you don't find a guy in the draft, just tank so you can get Caleb Williams next year.
I think he's going to sort of just hold down the fort. Not going to do anything too extraordinary.
Yeah, but why do you want that?
Because you lose Derek Carr.
Yeah, but why would you want a guy who's going to get you like 6-11 instead of just committing to the tank? Just commit to the tank. Caleb Williams is in the draft next year. If you can get the first pick, it's a good look for your team.
Yeah, and I don't know. Maybe they're seeing, okay, this is what he was doing with the 49ers. Maybe he'll do that here. But I don't think that's going to work because obviously that offense was absolutely lethal. And the Raiders aren't. They have Devontae Adams, Josh Jacobs.
And they are now missing this guy that we are going to talk about now. Darren Waller, no longer a Raider, just got traded to the Giants. Shane, take it away.
I mean, right, I obviously love this move. They basically traded Kadarius Toney for Darren Waller. So, like, this was obviously a great move. Great job by Joe Shane getting this done because, I mean, congrats to Kadarius Toney. He won the Super Bowl with the Chiefs. He did. But I'm taking Darren Waller all day. He is one of the most talented tight ends in the league. Obviously, he's missed, I believe it was 14 games the last 2 years due to injury. So that's a little bit cause for concern. But when he's healthy, I'm taking over him probably Kelsey, Mark Andrews, and...
Wait. Oh, you're saying those are the guys you would rather have?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was going to be a very bold opinion if you said that you would rather have
I know
Waller
better than
Kelsey.
that.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
Yeah, but so you got what? Kelsey, Mark Andrews,
Say Kittle.
Kittle, and then Darren Waller's right there. So Daniel Jones, I'm excited to see what they can do because this is obviously going to help him out. Gives him a big target. I think Waller's like 6'5", something like that.
He is a big dude.
Yeah, so yeah, all-pro tight end. I love what the Giants have been doing this offseason, and I think this is the best move that they've made. I hope they're going to continue to make like little moves here and there, but I think this improves that offense tremendously. So I'm excited. I just hope he can stay healthy.
And I think that's the biggest thing here is if he can stay healthy. I really like the move if he's on the field because, like you said, when he's there, he's a proven top 5 tight end in the league.
Yep.
And the issue is also, as you said, he has missed 14 of the team's last 33, 36, 34 games. I don't remember how long the 17-game season is gone. If I'm being completely honest, I don't remember if last year was the first year. Anyways, doesn't matter. He can't stay on the field consistently right now, and that's the only worry that I have here. Obviously, if you can trade him for Kadarius Toney, you trade him for Kadarius Toney, especially considering the head case that Kadarius Toney was in for the Giants. I love that side of the thing. However, I am worried that he can't be healthy, and that's kind of something that the Giants have an issue with, is that they're relying a lot of their offense on 2 people who haven't exactly had the best track record for injury between him and Saquon. And
yeah,
so there's a little bit of a worry there. if they can stay healthy, I think the Giants could actually have a good offense for the first time ever. Granted, they should get a receiver probably in the draft because they're all gone on free agency now. But I think that Waller can make this offense very good. We've seen how having a very good tight end can impact an offense because, I mean, the Chiefs just won a Super Bowl with essentially one receiving weapon, and it was the greatest tight end to ever play football. Like, the Ravens have been letting Lamar loose with having only Mark Andrews. Like, this kind of thing is having a good tight end is a very good thing for a lot of offenses. And if the Giants can, at least if their only real receiving weapon is a tight end, as long as Waller's healthy, I think they'll still be able to survive. And I think Daniel Jones could have the best year he's ever had. Unfortunately, there's still the issue of him being healthy, and he hasn't really proven that he can do that lately.
Well, they just got rid of the they got grass there now.
They did.
The turf monster is hopefully gone because there was a lot of unfortunate ACLs that were torn on that turf.
Where are there now?
There were. So that's gone. So hopefully the field is more nice to the players now.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to see that like.
No, you don't want to see Saquon tear his ACL in there again?
No, or Odell.
Or Odell, man.
Which he needs to figure. Well, no, teams need to figure it out.
Teams do.
Yeah, because I think he said like someone offered him $4 million, but he declined it because he wants more.
That's fair. He probably. I don't.
It's tough at this stage of his career.
I don't know if he deserves more than that at this point.
Yeah, I don't know how to really like rate him or like what like tier to put him in because it's been a while now and he's now not the youngest.
No, he's not.
Yeah,
he's getting up there. I think as a receiver, he's probably still good. Unfortunately, he didn't play all last year. He's coming off a torn ACL, and I think he's on the wrong side of 30 at this point. If he's not, he's getting close.
I think he's 29 or 30.
29, 30.
Yeah, so he's right there.
He's pretty much there. And when you're a receiver, that's about when your shelf life starts to fall off, unless you're one of the best. So he's in a bad spot, I think. And I understand why teams don't want to give him a whole lot of money. I'm not sure if it's right to try and rob him of all of this, but it's hard to justify it right now, considering the sort of conditions that you're putting him, that he's been putting teams under. And he should probably be on a team by now, but I'm not shocked he's not.
Yeah, because of like injuries.
Yeah, torn ACL is a tough thing to come back from, especially that late in your career.
And he did it like. I think he's done it a few times now.
It's been at least twice now.
If you take out his first 3 years in the league, he's just been a very injury-prone receiver, and that's just the reality. Like his first 3 seasons with the Giants he was electric. He was one of the best like explosive receivers in the league. But outside of that, like once he started getting to the Browns, that was really when the fall off started to happen with him, and it happened quick. It seemed like too.
Yeah, it was very fast for him. And, I mean, are we really that surprised, I guess? I don't know. It seems like he went down once near the end of his stint with the Giants, and
Ankle.
he was never really the same after.
Yeah, I think at this point, as far as him being on a team, it's high risk, high reward.
It is.
Like, he could stay healthy for a year, and he still can play. He's still going to score and, like, put up yards, but he could also get hurt, like, 2 or 3 games in, and that'd be it for the year. So
yeah. I think that if you can get him as, like, a number 2 or, like, supporting piece, that's a good guy to have. I don't think he's at the point in his career where he can't be a reliable number 1, but get him as a complimentary receiver that could play off very well for, I think, a lot of teams.
yeah, just like he was with the Rams.
Yeah.
He kind of joined, like, about midway through the season, helped him out in the playoffs. I think he was in that role perfectly with like Cooper Kupp as number 1 and then him. That's the kind of atmosphere I think he needs to be in.
Yeah, and I think that would work pretty well for him. One receiver was on the move in recent times. DJ Moore has been traded to the Bears. The Bears traded the number 1 pick in the draft. They got themselves a massive haul. DJ Moore, the 9th pick in the draft, a second rounder this year, a 2024 first, and a 2025 second. I mean, Shane, how do you feel about this giant draft move?
I love this for the Bears.
Yes.
Hats off to them. They finally got Justin Fields, a wide receiver 1. And DJ Moore is a great wide receiver 1 to have.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I think he's almost one of the more underrated guys in the league.
100%.
Probably because he's been in Carolina, they don't get much light, but
They don't get light, and he's had pretty bad quarterback play for most of his career.
yeah, right. And he's had 3 1,000-yard seasons, and that's with the quarterback disaster that they've gone through the past years. So I hope Justin Fields can get him the ball more. I know you're probably a bigger fan of Justin Fields than me.
Significantly.
So I hope this works out for him, though, because not only you got him, Chase Claypool, and Darnell Mooney. That's a good trio.
It's a solid trio. It's better than it has been in a while because now they actually have a number 1. Because while DJ Moore may not really be recognized by the world as a number 1 receiver, he is.
He is.
And Chase Claypool is not mentally prepared to be a number 1 guy. Darnell Mooney I like, but I don't think he's good enough to be a number 1, at least not yet. DJ Moore is, though. And Justin Fields, I am a very big fan of Justin Fields. I think the guy is one of the more underrated quarterbacks in the league. I think that everybody knows how good he is as a runner, and he's arguably the best running quarterback in all of football at this point. I think that you could still make the case for Hurts or Lamar, but Justin Fields belongs to be in that conversation. And
Don't forget Danny.
No. And will not give Danny that kind of respect. He's not that.
Danny and Josh too.
Neither of them are that good of runner. I mean, they're good runners, but they're not
you wouldn't think,
runners.
but then it's oh, there he goes for 20 yards.
Yeah, but Justin Fields is oh, there he goes for 70.
Yeah, he is. Oh, Justin Fields is. Yeah, I'd give it to him. The
Yeah.
best running QB in the league.
And so I think that because of that, people tend to forget about his arm and underrate his arm. He can sling it. He's got himself a cannon, and it's a lot better than people realize because people only saw him on those 2 primetime games at the start of the year where he looked terrible. And I will be the first to admit he looked horrible. I remember the game against the Commanders; it was bad. But the season went on, he got more comfortable throwing the ball, and obviously he didn't really have a receiver to throw it to for most of the season, but now he does, and that's going to be huge for a guy like him. He's a young quarterback. Young quarterbacks it's really big for them to have one of those upper echelon receivers that they can rely on, and DJ Moore is that for him. And as a Packer fan, I don't like this move. This scares me because I think that the Bears are going to be a lot better than people think. I don't think they're necessarily going to be a playoff team, but they're going to be pushing 500 next year for the first time in seems like forever. And I think a lot of that is because they just got an absolute stud for one of the best young quarterbacks in the league. And on top of that, they moved down from the number 1 pick to get the number 9. They moved down 8 slots in the draft and got three extra picks. Granted, only one of them is tacked on to next year, but they're getting a 2024 first and a 2025 second. They're going to get 2 very good players after this draft on top of the 2 good players they're going to get in this year's draft. This move is fantastic for Chicago. They had no intention of keeping the number 1 pick. They had no need to keep the number 1 pick. They don't need a quarterback. They have Justin Fields. Why would you keep the number 1 pick if you already have your franchise guy? You can trade down and get a whole lot more for essentially nothing.
Yeah, but if DJ Moore if they're making him available, you do that all day.
Exactly.
They kind of fleeced the Panthers on this one.
They did. I mean, I don't want to say they fleeced the Panthers if the Panthers take if the Panthers take Bryce Young, this is a terrible trade for them because I think Bryce Young sucks. And I think he's going to be terrible in the league. I don't think he has any future playing football. However, if the Panthers take C.J. Stroud, I think this trade could work out because if you can get your franchise guy, you get your franchise guy. There's 2 guys in this draft. I think C.J. Stroud and Anthony Richardson are both going to be very good. I think Stroud will be better sooner, and I think Richardson is going to take some more time to develop and grow as a QB. But right now, it's not a guarantee that they're taking either of them because Bryce Young has been the consensus number 1 for a while now, and honestly, I couldn't tell you why.
Yeah, I think they probably are aiming for Bryce Young on this one.
Yeah, which
right?
seems stupid.
They got to be because they had to have like that all thought out when they ran this trade.
Well, they thought it out is they want their franchise, they're doing this to get their franchise quarterback. I don't know if their franchise quarterback is Stroud or Bryce Young, because it seems like those are the two people it's between.
But now they have the choice, and no one's going to get in their way. So.
Exactly. And that's the big bonus to jumping up to the number 1 pick, is you get whoever it is you want, you are guaranteed to have. And I don't know which of those two it will be. I mean, for the Panthers' sake, I sure hope it's not Bryce Young.
Yeah, and yeah, they still have a top 10 pick.
Yeah.
Which isn't going to be like one of them, but yeah, they're not in the market for a quarterback.
Nope. They'll still get a top tier, probably defensive player, maybe offensive line.
Offensive line, I think they should go for.
I mean, I think either way, you get one of the two. They need help on every side of the football right now.
Except QB.
Except QB.
And receiver.
And receiver. And it's a bummer because this is a good QB and receiver draft. But I think that they should, offensive line seems like probably where they should go. And there's plenty of good tackles in this draft, so they can certainly find a piece on that line that can really get them there. But whether or not they actually go that route is up in the air.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think the Bears, we should be looking at about a 500 team.
Yeah.
This season, not the whatever it was they won last year. I
believe it was 2-15.
Yeah, something like that.
Pretty bad.
Yeah, if they do that again, they got problems.
Yeah, I don't think that'll happen again.
No.
I think Fields is too good, and they've given him enough help that won't happen. Granted, their defense is still awful.
Oh, it is.
But
there was that stretch of games, remember, where they were scoring like upwards of 30.
And they lost all of them.
Because they were giving up 30 to 40 a game.
Yep. And at that point, how can you blame Justin Fields?
Yeah, he don't play defense.
He don't play defense. Hope you're listening, Trey. Stop blaming Justin Fields for that.
Yeah.
Anyways.
We got a spot for him right here.
We do got a spot.
If he ever wants to smoke.
Right here, big guy.
Yeah.
You don't want this. Anyways, let's wrap up some football here. Overall favorite move from this offseason so far. Shane, who you got?
I think this one's going to surprise you. I don't know if I would necessarily want to call it my favorite, but it's one that we haven't mentioned a lot. It's Stephon Gilmore to the Cowboys.
Yeah.
As much as this scares me as a Giants fan to have to go against that twice a year, this is without question the best defensive duo in the league with him and Trayvon Diggs back there. So, I think the Cowboys got I think it was like a 5th round pick for him too. I think it was like another draft pick where it was like, oh wow, the Cowboys fleeced them.
I want to say it was a 5.
Yeah, so this was a steal by the Cowboys again, and I'm not looking forward to face that twice a year. And I think I haven't heard much noise about this move, so I think this one's kind of got swept under the radar a little bit. So I guess not my favorite, but I think the best move, not that we hadn't discussed, it's got to be him to the Cowboys.
I'm kind of with you. Well, it wasn't my pick, but I didn't even see that Stephon Gilmore went to the Cowboys until you said something about it. So, I mean, it certainly flew under the radar to say the very least.
Yeah, like their defense last year was already lethal.
Yes.
Now you add him.
It's only getting better. They have one of the best cornerback duos in all football now.
I'm comfortable saying that is the best.
I'd have to think, but off the top of my head, I can't think of anyone better.
Yeah.
And so I do really like that move for the Cowboys. I do think that is a very good move for them. Not my favorite move. My favorite move has to be CJ Gardner-Johnson going to the Lions. I think that he went there for 1 year, $8 million. It's a steal. The guy, he was hurt a little bit last year, but when he was on the field, he was one of the best defensive backs in all football. He had 6 interceptions in I think it was 12 games or something. It was very impressive. I'm not sure he's going to be able to replicate that same kind of turnover potential in Detroit, but honestly, they need secondary help, and this will get them there. And I really do like this move for Detroit. I think that this could pay off very well for a team that, honestly, I don't think is very far off of making a good playoff run. And getting a guy like CJ is going to get them a lot closer to that playoff run than I think most other moves would. They need veteran leadership in the secondary. This is what they just got. And great job, Shane. Congratulations.
What was that?
Yeah, who knows? Who knows? Dropping things everywhere. This guy's so unprofessional. But I really do like getting C.J. Gardner-Johnson to the Lions. I think this move is going to pay a very big dividends for a very young team, a very young and upcoming team. And I think that Detroit is going to sneak in there. It's going to make a much deeper run than I think a lot of people are prepared for.
Yeah, they've had themselves an off season so far.
They have.
I know you've been watching it.
I have. I'm not exactly now that the Packers are back. I'm not exactly happy.
Oh, the Packers are back now.
Oh, they're back.
Jordan Love, and now they're just.
Well, I mean, it's more of just 12 is gone. So like, as long as 12 is gone, they're back. And so with that being the case, I no longer am rooting for the Lions, which kind of hurts.
We're back all in on the Packers now.
Oh, all in.
Okay.
Packers and the Jags. Jags aren't going anywhere.
We'll see if that same energy is there when the Lions beat the Packers next year.
Good for the Lions if they can beat the Packers next year. I kind of expect them to, if I'm being honest. But I mean, at the same time, the Packers are going 15-2, and they're 2 losses to the 17-0 Lions.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that's the NFC championship game right there.
Yep.
Okay. All right. That'll be a good one.
Would be.
That would be a great matchup, actually.
Yeah.
Really, it would. Unless the Giants are in it.
Yeah, word. I don't think you're feeling too good about that one anyway. Done talking about some football. Let's talk about some basketball. March Madness is fully underway. And Shane, who you got winning this?
So, I mean, we got the Sweet 16 starting up. And
That we do.
And I think the most well-rounded team, it's a cliche pick, but if I'm picking one to win it all, I got to go with Houston. Obviously, I mean, you got Jamal Sheed and Marcus Sasser, although he's got that groin issue.
Yeah.
Which is, that may be a factor, but ultimately, it's March Madness. It's under the brightest lights. I think he's going to push through and perform. I just think all around, top to bottom, they have the talent and the toughness to win it all. So, I mean, but it's, again, we've seen 15 seeds beat 1s and 16s. So anything could happen. But if I'm picking one to stick with through the rest of the tournament, I would go with Houston, but they could also lose on Friday. So.
I think they do lose on Friday. I don't like Houston at all.
No?
I think their offense is way too inconsistent. It relies exclusively on Sasser, and with Sasser being beat up like he is right now, if he goes down in any of these games at this point on, they're done.
Oh, if he don't play, it's over.
And that's a pretty real worry for them. And honestly, even if he does play, I still think they might lose to Miami. I think Houston's offense is bad. Their defense is incredible.
Yeah.
No question there. They are one of the best defensive teams in all of college basketball, if not the best. So
Defense wins titles.
It's not always in basketball, big guy. But I think
Yes, it does.
if it won titles, Houston would have won it the last 2 years. But anyways, that's besides the point. I don't love Houston. I think the boring pick is just taking Alabama. Alabama is head and shoulders the best team. But if anybody knows anything about me, I don't like taking the boring pick. I think that's boring. And so I will go with my hometown, my favorite team, the team that I do think has a legitimate chance at going all the way and winning, the UCLA Bruins. UCLA certainly has some injury worries. Jalen Clark being out for all of this tournament is not a good thing for them. Adem Bona having a messed up shoulder and wearing a mask every single game, not a great sign for the team, but at least Bona's been playing through it. What I do know, however, is Jaime Jaquez is the best two-way player, I think, arguably in all of college basketball. He is one of the best defenders, and he can still get it done on the offensive end. He put up 20 in the last game that they had against Northeastern. I think that this team, when they're clicking, can beat any team in the tournament. I don't think there's a single. At one point, I think they were the second ranked team in all of college basketball. I don't understand why UCLA has been kind of getting slept on these so far in this tournament run, considering just how good of a team they were the entire year. Because obviously, yeah, they're dealing with some injuries, but I don't think that's really enough to hold them back because they've been able to play through all of these injuries. And I think the only game that they really have coming up right now that scares me is this one on Thursday against Gonzaga. I think Gonzaga could very much beat them.
Yep.
I think Drew Timme is, as much as I hate him and as much as he is one of my least favorite people in the history of college basketball and professional sports, he's really good.
He's a stud.
He is. And if Bona's hurt and if Bona can't really defend him, this team's in trouble.
Yep.
But I think UCLA is going to be able to overcome that. I think they have a really good shot at getting by Gonzaga, and if they get by Gonzaga, I don't see who's stopping them. The only team that can really do it is Alabama, but if they play Alabama, it's going to be in the championship. So I really like UCLA's chances this year. I think they got a real good shot. They looked fantastic. They absolutely destroyed UNCA. UNC Asheville, it was brutal. They won by 33. And then they go out and they play Northwestern, and it was a nail-biter, but they come out on top. And so I think that this team has it clicking, and if they get by Gonzaga, no one's stopping them. Jaime Jaquez is a dog. The guys
They got some dogs.
They do. And I really like this team, and maybe I'm just a biased LA idiot, but that's how I'm feeling, man.
No, like I was looking at UCLA too, and like I had a sneaky suspicion that you were gonna pick them.
Yeah, just a little.
Yeah, but no, like I could see that happening. Like, and obviously with March Madness, it's like sometimes it's like doesn't come down to like who is the most talented team. It's who's getting hot at the right time. Mm-hmm. So that's what's gonna take for any one of these teams to break through. But yeah, I could see them, and obviously Houston was my pick, but it really could be anybody at this point. Like as we talked about, like the first round was insane.
Yeah.
Like what was it now? 3 years in a row?
Well, it's 3 years in a row. 15 is knocked off a 2 seed. It's the second time, and I think it's the second time ever, and the second time in the last 5 years that a 16 is knocked off a 1. Like, the upsets have been unreal so far this year, and it's ruined my bracket, to say the least. I didn't really have not Princeton. I didn't have Purdue going anywhere, but I sure had. I think I had Purdue losing in the second round. I don't like them. I didn't think they were very good. They shouldn't have been a 1 seed in the first place. But I sure didn't have Princeton doing anything. I had Arizona in the championship playing UCLA, and that didn't look very well.
No.
That didn't end up well. It's been amazing to see all these upsets. I love it. It's so much fun. Furman knocking off Virginia was insane. It was one of the wildest plays that I think I've really ever seen to end a basketball game. It's been such a great tournament, and it's always a great tournament.
It is.
This is the best time of the year for sports. It's March. You have baseball starting back up. You have basketball's regular season's coming down to a close. You have March Madness, the greatest tournament in all of sports. I mean, hockey regular season's winding down. It's so great. I love this. This makes me happy. Plus, we got the World Baseball Classic, which we're going to talk about a little bit later. It's amazing. I love this. It brings me joy.
And you missed one. This year we got the XFL happening at the same time too.
Stop.
What?
I'm a USFL fan.
Oh,
Yeah. Show some respect.
But yeah, what a time for sports, really. It
really is.
In March.
There's nothing like it. It's so great. I mean, there's still so many good teams left in the tourney too that, I mean, we haven't really even talked about. Like Creighton looks scary right now. Creighton looks like they might be the best team in the tournament. Mm-hmm. I mean, they just destroyed Baylor, and Baylor was the number 3 seed in that whole side. Like, obviously, if they win this game, they're probably going to have to play Alabama, which won't be very easy considering just how talented of a team Alabama is, but Creighton could give them a run for their money. And plus, you got Xavier. Xavier looks fantastic. I would not be shocked if they end up going all the way to the Final Four. Like, that's another team where just kind of flies under the radar with just how talented they are. And if they want to get there, they're probably going to have to go through Houston unless Houston gets taken out this weekend.
They won't. They're beating Miami. They're beating Miami.
I wouldn't be too shocked.
I'm confident on that one. They're going to beat Miami.
You see the Miami women's team knocked off I forget who they were playing, but they knocked off one of the 1 seeds.
I did see that.
Yeah. Shout out to the Cavender twins.
Yeah.
Shout out.
They were hooping.
They were hooping.
Go Miami.
Go Miami. We like Miami.
But not against Houston.
No, they'll beat Houston.
No, they won't. They don't want that smoke.
I think they do want that smoke. Anyways, let's keep it on Miami. World Baseball Classic just wrapped up in Miami. Final topic here for the day. I guess I can kind of run this one.
Yeah, I want to hear you take this one away because you were there firsthand for some of these games.
I was there firsthand for some of these games. I saw America play 3 times. I saw Mexico play a couple of times. Saw Colombia play.
Let's hear about that whole experience.
Well, it's amazing. I mean, this is the closest. This is someone who has been to both the World Baseball Classic and the World Series. This is something like this is the same level of like energy in a location as I felt in the World Series. It honestly, it was like a World Series atmosphere plus a little bit more, if I'm being completely honest. The U.S. Mexico game completely sold out Chase Field, which is the first time it's ever been happened, the only time it will ever be happened because no one cares about the Diamondbacks in Arizona because the Diamondbacks stink. Anyways, that's enough Diamondback slander for this one. They didn't deserve that strike.
They didn't deserve that one.
Yeah, but
threw that one in there.
They did. It's a terrible stadium, terrible city, terrible state. I hate that place. Anyways, moving on. It was so much fun to be there. It was amazing. Seeing so much energy, so much passion from every single person in that building. It's unreal. I've never seen that kind of like excitement for every single pitch of a baseball game. Everybody's on their feet the entire time. The Mexico-Colombia game, they had like these weird spinny things that were like making weird noises. It's like you had the soccer crowd in a baseball game. It was electric. And then you go to the U.S.-Mexico, and the place is completely sold out. Like the tickets sold out like a month in advance. That doesn't happen for baseball really ever unless it's playoffs. And this felt like more than the playoffs. It was so fun to be there. Such an incredible just environment, such an incredible atmosphere. And on top of that, you're seeing incredible baseball. You're seeing some of the best people on earth playing for their countries. Randy Arozarena is arguably the greatest baseball player to ever play. It sure feels like, except for one guy who just put on an absolute show last night. But Randy Arozarena, he knows how to just match the energy, match the moment. He rises up every single opportunity he gets. He had that incredible playoff run in 2020 where he broke the record for the most home runs in a single postseason. He just went into the WBC and put on an absolute show. He was hitting almost 500. He was driving in runs, only getting extra base hits, robbing people on defense. He's like stone facing at people after robbing home runs, like wearing cowboy boots and the giant hat and like giant sombreros during the like pregame interviews. The guy has so much swag, it's amazing. Like his team picture that he had from Mexico, he was wearing pit vipers. Like, you don't see this. No, and it's so much fun to be able to just go in and see people just go out there and play this well, play for their country, have so much pride in what they're doing. Like you're seeing people talk about it after the fact, and they're saying that like Trey Turner was saying that the grand slam he hit against Venezuela was bigger than any playoff home run he's ever done, and it's like it felt bigger than anything he'd ever done. The crowd is going insane. You have people dressed like presidents in the stands because they're just pulling for America. You have there was the Japan game that they were playing had like people were like painting the Japan flag on their head. Like it was insane. It was incredible. Seeing that kind of pride in one's country was amazing. And on top of that, you're getting the best baseball you've ever seen. The U.S. game against Venezuela. Sorry, I'm talking so long. I just kind of have to. I love this.
Go ahead.
It's just so much fun. The U.S. Venezuela game is one of the best games I've ever seen. I mean, it looked like Venezuela had it. You have a guy pitching who has like maybe one button buttoned on his jersey, and he's striking people out and celebrating like he just won the World Series. And it's just the 6th inning. Like, it's amazing. You don't see that kind of energy anywhere. You don't see that kind of hype anywhere. It's so much fun. And that's what it is. It's just fun. It reminds you how fun baseball can be. You see the the Japanese announcers calling the walk-off that they had against Mexico. I don't know if you saw that video, but that's just pure joy.
Yep.
And it's so good to see. They had the same guys calling the championship last night, and he was just as excited watching Shohei Ohtani strike out Mike Trout. And Shohei Ohtani. I have to talk about Shohei Ohtani. This is I said it before. I'll say it again. This is the greatest baseball player who's ever lived. And he just struck out Mike Trout, who was in the running for the greatest baseball player who's ever lived. It felt like a passing of the torch, really. Like, you have Mike Trout, the unanimous best player in baseball for the last basically 10 years or so now.
Yeah.
And now you have Ohtani, who comes in a few years ago. He's been 3 years in a row now. He's been able to pitch and hit for an entire season. The last 2 years, he's done it in an elite level. Won an MVP, should have won it last year. But it's so cool to see Ohtani go out and come in for the ninth inning and get the save against America, where the last batter he faces is Mike Trout, his own teammate. Like,
I mean, you can't script it better than that.
you can't.
No.
And it was like watching the game last night. You see it coming up, and you see what they have said that was being prepared after Darvish ended up getting the last out, and Mike Trout was due off third the next time America was going to come up. Like, it's hard to not look at that and think, okay, Ohtani is going to come into this game, and Ohtani is going to have to finish this game pitching to Mike Trout. Like, I fully expected Ohtani to have a 1-2-3 inning. Seeing the first guy get on base put a little bit of fear in my heart, because I think he walked Jeff McNeil. And right after that, Mookie Betts comes up, and I love Mookie. He's used up all of his clutch gene. That thing, it's no longer there. It was all gone in 2020. He used it it all got evaporated against the Braves. And well, I mean, thanks Mookie. Wouldn't have won that World Series without you. But I mean, it's kind of disappeared for the guy, and it disappeared for him in that championship game. Hits the double play. So you got Mike Trout coming up, 2 outs, game on the line. And Shohei Ohtani does what Shohei Ohtani does. He threw him 4 straight fastballs, all at over 100 miles an hour. The second strike that he had on a 100-mile-an-hour fastball right down the middle is the biggest screw you pitch that you could ever see. I love seeing that out of Ohtani, because it's just, he's out there and he knows, I'm better than you. And he's going to make Mike Trout know that Shohei Ohtani is better than him. And ends up wiping him away with that slider. That slider is so unhittable. Between the fastball, the slider, and the splitter, there's not a whole lot of pitchers with a better arsenal than Shohei Ohtani. And Mike Trout found that out firsthand. He never had to hit against him before, because they've been teammates the whole time. But I think Trout's very much worried for next year when Shohei Ohtani is going to be a Dodger.
That's what you think?
Oh, absolutely.
He's going to the Dodgers.
Yep, because he's a free agent, and he's not going back to Anaheim. He wants to play for a team that can actually get into the playoffs. And while the Dodgers may never have been able to compete or actually produce in the playoffs, they sure get there.
If you can add Shohei Ohtani, you do that.
Oh yeah.
And I wouldn't blame him if he wants to get out of Anaheim though.
He's going to. I can't imagine he wants to stay there.
Yeah.
Maybe he does. Maybe he's loyal. And granted, you think he probably has a good amount of loyalty to that team. From everything that I've heard, he's been one of the most loved people in the clubhouse. And even if he can barely speak English, nobody has enough words to describe just how great of a person he is, how great of a teammate he is. He goes out of his way to say hi to every single equipment guy there, even if he's only met him once. Ohtani is such a good dude, and maybe he wants to stay in Anaheim because, I mean, they love him there. He's got a huge fan base there, but
they would love him as a Dodger.
I think they would.
And at some point, you got to do what's best for your career.
Yep.
And because the Angels aren't really going anywhere, I don't think.
I don't think they are, and they've already given Mike Trout $400 million, so I'm not sure they can give Ohtani the $5 million that he's probably going to be looking for.
Yeah.
I know the Dodgers have been cutting payroll the last 2 years, and every sign is pointing to them cutting payroll so they can get Shohei Ohtani this upcoming offseason. And if they can do that, I will buy that jersey the day he signs. I need it. I need him on my team. He is the greatest baseball player that has ever lived. I don't care if you're going to give me the side eye because you think it's Babe Ruth. It's not. Shohei Ohtani is better than Babe Ruth. Babe Ruth couldn't do what Ohtani's been doing. Babe Ruth had 2 seasons where he was able to pitch and hit. Ohtani's done this for 3, and he's been in baseball for 4 years. Ohtani is a better pitcher than Babe Ruth ever was. While Babe Ruth hit better for the time, I think if you put Babe Ruth in today's baseball, he's not hitting Ohtani. No one's hitting it. I don't think there's even a chance. I think if you put Ohtani back in Babe Ruth's era, Ohtani's hitting 100 more homers than Babe Ruth ever did.
I feel like you could say that about
anybody.
You
could say that about a lot of people, but I think that just goes to show that you can't say the greatest baseball player of all time is someone who couldn't survive in some other era. And I don't think Babe Ruth could survive in a different era. I think if you put him anywhere else, he's not going to do it. And while it's very not fair to make this argument because one, he's dead, and two, I mean,
Not at all fair.
it was like 100 years ago. But like,
Literally 100 years ago.
Ohtani is the most talented human to ever. Honestly, I might say he's the most talented athlete of all time. I think he's that good. He is out there pitching at a Cy Young level, hitting at a Silver Slugger level, at an MVP level, honestly. And he's doing that at the same time, all while being one of the fastest people in the league. What more do you need out of this guy? What more does a person need to do to be the greatest? No one's doing this. No one has ever done this. No one will ever do this again. This is incredible. And he's incredible. And he's going to be a Dodger next year.
These are some bold takes going on right here. So Shohei Ohtani is the GOAT, basically.
Yes.
He's the greatest of all time.
Yes. Without a question in my mind, I think Shohei Ohtani is the most talented baseball player to ever play the sport.
We gotta save this clip right here
Feel free.
for when he retires and it's all said and done. We'll remember that you called it first.
Yeah. I stand by it, and I will forever stand by it.
And if he doesn't go to the Dodgers, he would look good in pinstripes too. But
Respectfully disagree.
just one more thing about the World Baseball Classic. We obviously, unfortunately, saw the injury to Diaz.
Yes.
Do you think people are going to point to that and be like, see, that's why playing in this the World Baseball Classic, this is why you shouldn't do it, because you can get injuries like that?
No, it shouldn't, because that was a freak injury. And honestly, it could have happened in practice. Because I don't know if you remember the video of the Mets practicing their World Series celebration before spring training started. Pitchers and catchers reported to camp, all the team got there, and one of the first things they did was practice a celebration.
Yeah,
Could have happened there.
That was corny.
It's very corny, but it could have happened in practice. It could have happened anywhere. Diaz wasn't even doing anything. Honestly, it could have happened to him walking down the stairs of the dugout. Like, I hate that that's what people are going to look at when they see this, because it wasn't just him, it was Altuve got hurt too. And you shouldn't be looking at this as, oh, these guys are getting hurt, the World Baseball Classic should get canceled. That's not how the takeaway should be. These are some of the most talented people on the planet playing for their country, and if you take them out of this, it's not the same. The Olympics happens during the MLB season, and America sends over like Todd Frazier and a whole bunch of like college kids, and no one cares. If they did that for the World Baseball Classic, it would be terrible for the sport. Here's something. Lars Nootbaar entered the World Baseball Classic with 50,000 Instagram followers. A week and a half later, he has exited it, and he has over 600,000. That's what the World Baseball Classic can do for a person. Lars Nootbaar may not be a superstar, but he's an MLB-level player, and he's a good MLB-level player. Having guys like that in this tournament makes it so much better. 94% of the TVs in Japan are watching that Japan-Mexico game.
Really?
Yes. I don't think that happens if you're not letting guys like Shohei Ohtani play in that game.
No shot.
And
never.
I don't think that taking away I do think that taking away the stars in this tournament, the thing would fall apart. And I think that would be terrible if they ended up doing that. I hope they don't end up doing that. I hope that's not their takeaway. The Jose Altuve injury, honestly, I would be more worried about him getting a broken thumb from a hit by pitch in a spring training game, because honestly, I expect spring training pitchers to have a worse command than World Baseball Classic pitchers. Mm-hmm. And at the same time, if you want to look at all these injuries and blame it on the World Baseball Classic, look at spring training. Gavin Lux tore his ACL trying to slide into third in a spring training game. It could happen anywhere. It's not because they're playing in World Baseball Classic games. That's not going to be the reason that they're losing and that they're getting hurt. It could happen anywhere on the baseball diamond. It's unfortunate it had to happen here, and it's unfortunate that that's going to be the takeaway a lot of people have, is that this whole tournament shouldn't happen anymore because these guys are getting hurt. I'm worried that the owners are going to look at this as a reason to cancel this tournament, not let their players compete in it. I hope that's not the case. I hope it doesn't end up going that way, because this is the most fun baseball that I've seen in a very long time. It's been so great to watch. I remember watching the end of that game, and my only reaction was just, man, I love baseball. And if they take away the players, it wouldn't be the same.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Like, this shouldn't be a reason to, like, not send players. Like, this was just a freak injury, and that's just it. Like
Yep.
as you said, like that, this could have happened, like just literally doing anything, and really, it wasn't even baseball. It happened while he was celebrating. It's not like even like while he was playing.
No. And he wasn't even doing anything big in the celebration either. He was just walking off the mound.
Yeah. So, no, I don't think this should be a reason for owners and guys around the league to not compete in this, because it seems like this was the best World Baseball Classic that they've had.
I think it certainly was. The recognition it got was bigger than it's ever been, I think.
Yep.
And I mean, it would be so upsetting if they just cut it because of all these freak injuries. I really don't think they should.
Yeah, I mean, it almost seems like it's almost like a mini Olympics for baseball.
It is. I mean, it's baseball's World Cup essentially.
Yeah,
That's the closest thing that they have to it. It's bigger than, I don't want to say it's bigger than the Olympics because the Olympics is obviously massive, but it's bigger than the Olympics for baseball.
yeah,
And it's huge. And maybe you move it to a different time of the year. I don't really think you do. I think this is the perfect time to have it. But yeah, I think that this is the best thing that baseball can ever do. And I think that this is the best show that Utica TV could ever have. So
I
thank
agree.
you all for joining us here this morning, or whenever you're watching this, honestly. It's probably not going to come out in the morning. But thank you all. I have been James Boss. He is still Shane Tinney.
still, always, and forever.
Thank you all for joining us. We'll be back next week.